Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 322 of the Civil Gore Podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian, and we got a cool episode today. This one's about Actually, I think this might be released now. I apologize with that, because I thought I meant to go check that information, but if it's not, it's due out, I think any day, possibly this week, and that is The Hood Witch, which is a very interesting movie that I look forward to. We can't say much about it. It's one of those things, I know I feel bad, but when it's just coming out, it kind of... Yeah. As good as it is, it's we tend to not, especially some of these movies, you don't want to get too much information on it to really enjoy it. So, yeah, so we can't do much about it, but we do definitely have plenty of content. We got some good first chop items. We got a To Be Trappers returned, and Tim trapped me for sure with this one.
Oh, yeah, I got him good. Hood Witch came out March 21st, actually. So
oh, it did? Okay, so good. That's good. So as you're hearing this, it's already out, so you can go check that out wherever you choose to get your VODs, I guess.
Yeah, we wanted to cover this one because we had an opportunity to do an interview, and that just didn't work out. There were some time zone challenges, and there were some language barriers. But we still wanted to promote the movie because they had been so gracious enough to send us a screener, and so we definitely wanted to promote it and get that information out to you guys so you can check it out for yourself. So that'll be fun to talk about. I guess we'll get right into it. This is our first chop. All right, Brian. So continuing my In Search of Darkness project, I watched another one of those Don't Do This movies. And this week it was Don't Answer the Phone.
And why couldn't you do anything back in the late 70s and early 80s? They didn't want you to do anything.
You have to scream this title because there's an exclamation point on it.
Yes.
This one was from 1980. I actually kind of like this one. And the reason why is because, you guys know I'm a big true crime buff and I watch a lot of true crime stuff. This is like the most gritty 70s true crime-ish horror film you're ever going to run across. It very much plays out like a police procedural. So it's that kind of horror movie where it's like them tracking down a serial killer. And in this one, he is a strangler. This is actually loosely based off the Hollywood Strangler or the Hillside Strangler, maybe. One of the famous Strangler serial killers is based off of that.
Wait, you need a Strangler map, Tim, is what you need.
Yeah.
You need to get one of those maps where it shows where all these people... So actually, that's something that, those guys, those cine art guys that make those really cool maps of stuff, they should do that. Make a United States map, but put all the famous serial killers that especially have those names to it, the Hillside Strangler or Cropsey,
the Night Stalker.
In Staten Island. That's what we gotta. Next time we see those dudes, we gotta tell them that.
The neat thing about this movie is, number one, it's very low budget. It's very, like I said, that actually kind of works in its favor because it's so gritty and realistic. And I was reading one of the trivia, they filmed all the street scenes with no permits. They just went out and filmed it. But what's kind of creepy about this movie is that they don't, who the killer is right from the start. They show him killing people. And I guess the big gimmick here is he ends up getting on the phone and talking with this radio psychologist that does this radio show. And he kind of becomes infatuated with her and starts describing all of his murders and stuff to her. But meanwhile, the police are trying to track him down.
Yeah, that's a plot that's been kind of used a bunch of times, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And it's got this, it's got the 70s misogyny, and, it's kind of icky, the violence and the violence towards women and stuff. So, I mean, I'm not glorifying that part of it, but if you like that 70s grungy, dirty, serial killery true crime stuff, this one might be up your alley. Like I said, it's not a great movie, but it was kind of surprising because I was expecting a Halloween type slasher, and instead I got this kind of weird kind of fictional depiction of 70s serial killers, which was kind of cool. So Check it out if you haven't seen it. Don't answer the phone. I think it's on Fawsome, which is our new
Tim's favorite new streaming service.
My favorite new streaming service. And the reason it's one of my favorites now is because when I went through that list of almost 300 movies that I have not seen yet off of the In Search of Darkness project list, I was, you can go to like sites like Real Good that will tell you where they're streaming. There's a lot of these that are not streaming anywhere. And so I would and it changes all the time. So you have to go back and update the list constantly.
Yeah.
But I would put in, okay, this one I can only do rental. This one I can get on Tubi. This one I can get on Shudder. And I went through, and obviously I'm trying to knock out the easy ones first. But Fawsome, this streaming service called Fawsome just came out, and it actually had quite a few of the ones that were previously not available whatsoever, or they were only available for rental. And now I can watch them for free. So I think I've found 5 or 6 off the list that were now on Fawsome. So that's pretty cool. So check that service out.
Yeah, I kind of like that people are using like the Tubi model kind of these things now, where they're like, you know what, we could offer a ton of movies for free. People will watch it. We'll be able, and we'll just, we'll get our money out of the commercials, which at this point, even the paid services have the commercials if you don't pay the right thing. And most people are not going to upgrade, just to get like commercials. Sometimes it's like double the amount. So it's like, it's funny, like places like Tubi and Fawsome, just that's kind of like the nice like point. And that Momentu is that other one. Same thing, where there are these free services and they seem to be able to still get these great, hard to find movies on there, because probably it's like, it's like they, yes, you're going to find a lot of things like My Tubi Trap kind of thing that gets thrown in there. But, those probably are like, at some level, those are probably done pretty, purchased pretty inexpensively, because those movies probably would not have a viewing elsewhere.
Right.
Like,
that's what I'm thinking. Like most of these, like some of these obscure 1980s stuff, like nobody's buying this. Nobody's paying for this. Like, why not? If you could get the rights cheap, why not throw this on your service kind of thing?
Because it helps the company, even if they sell it, like even if they say, okay, you could have my movie on there and like you can buy it, I'll sell it for you like $10 or something. But then it gets it out there and you're like, oh, I kind of like this. Let me see what else this guy did. And boom, next thing you know, this guy's got a following, or.
Yeah.
So it's a good system that works. I kind of like seeing it that way. I love, and I love that it's like horror benefits out of it. For us, it's great.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's especially good for horror for sure.
Yes. So I have 2 little quick things for my personal thing, and then we'll have a second one that's kind of, I don't know if you saw it, but we'll go over it anyway. First thing is I went to this Nosferatu screening. So around here, and that's the original Nosferatu, and I'll explain why. So there's a big film festival that happens in the Bay Area every year called CineQuest, and they have a lot of cool stuff. It's not really horror centric. It's not like this year didn't have a ton of horror there. But like it had like Gillian Anderson like accepted some kind of award, and she was there one night doing something, and Bill Murray's new movie was shown. So it's got a lot of interesting, but they have these special screenings, and this was at this really cool restored old movie theater. Like I sent you guys pictures, and I'll post this on Instagram and Blue Sky flashes too for everyone to see. So, and what was great is it was the original print, the 1922 version of Nosferatu, and they had the entire sound effects, was silent, was done by this guy in his Wurlitzer organ, where he like pops up from in front of the stage
for
the screening, and he had this like incredible Wurlitzer organ that did everything. And when I say he added like you could not, and they piped him in the speaker, so you could not tell this was a silent film in terms of like, it was a silent film because it had the dialogue things popping up, and I hadn't seen this in forever. So this was kind of, and I meant to watch it before I saw the current one, but I didn't get to. So, but this was almost as good. This guy was insane. Like, even like, I don't know if you remember the original well, but there's that sequence where there's that little, Count Orlok has that kind of little, like, I guess for lack of a better word, like cuckoo clock. And it goes like ding, ding, ding. Like, he literally, you saw him because we did something we never do, and we went in the front row because I knew the screen was back a little bit, and I knew it was not going to be this widescreen thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to see the organist, so we got like front row seats, and we were there. And so it's like literally as it's dinging, I could see his finger going, and there was a part with the drum, and he was hitting this thing, this Wurlitzer org. It was so cool. Like it made it such a neat experience to see that. And I've seen movies done that. I saw like Buster Keaton's The General that way at another theater. tell you, if you have the opportunity to see one of those old school like silent films with a live music accompaniment, I can't recommend it any stronger. This was so cool.
I feel like I saw one back when I was in film class in college. I feel like the orchestra did one at one point, and I can't remember what it was. It might have been a Charlie Chaplin or something like that, but it was really, really cool to see with a live orchestra.
Yeah, and the sound that piped through the theater, and it was like one of those old school theaters like that, like, it takes you like, it's like you don't even feel like you're in a movie theater at first when you're walking, because it's like you don't, it's not a multiplex, it's one room, so like there's just like levels to go up, and it's like more like, because they do like ballets there, they do Broadway style shows there, so it's like everything, I guess. And Julia had said it was just recently reopened in the last couple of years, I guess. So this was really cool. The seating is uncomfortable as hell, though. Oh my God, I walked out of there, I was like, I felt like the Brady Bunch that time when they were all camping. Remember, they all couldn't walk. That's what I felt like. But
well, if you ever come to Wilmington, we need to take you to Thalian Hall, which is our old theater. It's inside. It's actually inside the City Hall building. They built the City Hall building around it, but the theater itself is still intact. And this theater is old, like 1800s old. Like you had like, I think I can't even think of all the different famous people that have been on that stage. And they do mostly plays there, but they also do film festivals. Like they do the Cucalores Film Festival there, I think. And they do weird, like you said, like screenings and stuff, like special screenings they do there. Mainly is for theater, but it's a really, really, it's supposedly haunted as well.
Oh, nice.
It's a really, really cool theater, but I would love for you to see it, because they got all the pictures of like the famous plays and stuff that have gone on there, hanging on the walls and stuff. It's really,
I love
really cool
that.
place.
It's like it makes you feel kind of like obviously when we grew up, we were already in the multiplexes as a kid were already forming by that point where we were there. But there were still a lot of like single big theaters around then, and like even like up until the past like 20 years, I was like, there's still some around like the Ziegfeld and Manhattan. There was when I saw some of the Star Wars there, it was cool, to kind of see a giant screen and and like almost like those the cool architecture. But yeah, so I definitely recommend that. And this was a cool movie to see it in. One quick note before I get to my next thing, was kind of interesting is because at one point, remember, this was deemed like the scariest movie of all time, back in 1922. How many at that point? That's not like exactly a wide.
Out of the 5 movies that are scary.
Yeah, out of the 5 movies that existed. But I guess for years it was still considered one of the scariest. But I felt like I was watching a comedy because like people were laughing. And I think part of the reason is, one, everyone knows that story so well. 2, the outlandishness of a silent movie, like people like like that overacting. It is comical
to today's audiences, I guess.
Yeah, so it's good. And I think everyone knows everyone knows the twists and turns. And so like when the line of dialogue says, like something like needs your blood or something, everyone just started laughing, because they know what's about to happen, in the movie. So it kind of added kind of a cool element. And, and seeing it on the screen, you realize how really well done that movie was for its time. It's like some of the cinematography back then is like, some of people are just like, oh, it's anyway. But like, it's black and white, so you can only get so much color depth to it. But if you make up for it with really cool shots, I think you can, which this movie did. I thought it was really cool. But and of course the famous sequence looks amazing when he just rises up there and stuff. But next thing I saw is, I guess I'm sticking with the monster kind of theme. The next thing I saw was I finally got to watch Wolfman, the new one. The Blumhouse, and I have to say, I really liked it. I'm going to start off with that. Really liked it. I'm not going to say anything because I don't think you saw it yet, right, Tim?
Now, is it streaming yet, or is it?
No, but I have it on my Vudu, so you can check it out. It just came out. So way different than I thought it was. I really thought it was going to go a certain way. It went a completely different way, and I got to say, I like the way they did it. I think it's gonna. It's almost like, I remember like we got a lot of people, I saw reviews like it's good, but it's, you can wait for streaming kind of thing. People would say, but you know what it is? I just definitely different from the other. And this is definitely, I will say this, it definitely goes more Wolfman than Wolfman, the werewolf, as we like to say, definitely kind of has that. It had some cool, to me at least, I caught a couple of homages to the original classic one. See if you can catch some of it visually. You can see, but it was just overall like it really focused on more the true story and dynamic of the characters going through than what was going on. Like it just like I felt like it got really into the movie before it really kicked into the Wolfman part of it, to me at least. I mean, so I'm being very cagey because I know this one you were really looking forward to, so I don't want to ruin it for you or anything. Just I thought it was just, and it did some cool things that like I haven't seen in many Wolfman movies, so I kind of like that element. And the performances are great. Like Julia Garner is always awesome. But I definitely recommend it, and I definitely like it. And it's one I have a feeling that's gonna like the longer I think about it, it's gonna sit with me even better. So
Cool.
then again, we'll
That's
see
good.
how it is, because you and I I feel like we're the few that like the Benicio del Toro one, which everyone panned, and I'm like, I don't know what they watched. I loved it, so. But yeah, so
I just think it's funny that people are like dismissing. Well, I don't like these new Universal monster movies because they're not like the old ones, and then they do the Benicio del Toro one that's just like a modern day Universal classic, and they hated it for that because it wasn't different enough. I'm like,
I honestly, you can't please anybody
anybody.
anymore.
Yeah.
But this one, I think you'll like this, Tim. I'm gonna play. If I was a betting man, which I am sometimes, I guess, I will say that I think you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna be it'd be like me, like you're expected something a little different than you're gonna get, but I think you're gonna like it in the end.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Next thing is, I don't know. Did you watch this yet?
No, I haven't had a chance to watch it.
Okay, well, it's on my Vudu too, so you can watch that also. So you have a nice little double feature of two things that have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
But this, I want to, of course, shout out our dear friend Emily in her new film, Raging Midlife. So, obviously everyone sees Emily's movies. They're used to her horror, but like she's proven in the past, like she could do drama in that movie Palace. She can do the heartfelt
rom-com,
holiday fare and Enchanting Christmas. And now, and she could do the action adventure cool thing, and with Final Level Escaping Rancala, which was kind of like a Jumanji video game mashup. And now she proves she can do straight out comedy amazingly. And Raging Midlife, which is now available to purchase, is in theaters also, but you can also purchase it at home for rental or just to own. I think it's only like $10 to own. So it's if you want to own that, which I did, of course. This one's got a good, interesting cast. It's got Paula Abdul in it. It's got Eddie Griffin, and of course Emily. And so this movie is funny. I saw a review today on it where they kind of like, it's a way to describe it. Like me, I am a sucker for these movies. I am a sucker for just an off the wall, crazy, bizarro comedy that kind of has like a little quest element to it, and it has a mix of slapstick and just like over the top, ridiculous comedy. Some people that's not their thing. To me, this movie was like my type of thing, especially because you add the wrestling thing in it. Quick plot description. Basically, it's about these two friends. They're in a wrestling match, and their favorite wrestler is like, basically the best way to describe it is he's the Macho Man if he played Abe Lincoln. He's like, I think it's called Raging Abe is his character, but the actor that plays him is Macho Man. And so his voice is like the Macho Man, and Paul Abdul plays his like his Miss Elizabeth. Yeah, so he's got the full on like, oh, and I'm gonna do cream of the crop, like the full on Macho Man type of character. But he plays his Abraham Lincoln thing. And I guess the two friends are at a wrestling match in the '80s, and his thing is he rips his shirt. So it's kind of like a little bit of Hulk Hogan in there, I guess, because he rips his shirt and he throws it, and these two friends get it, and they have this bratty sister who becomes, as an adult, is what Emily's character is. Basically, somehow, I don't want to spoil too much, but basically her hair gets set on fire and she blames her brother. So she goes through her whole life trying to torment her brother and not let him get this shirt back, which gets stolen by a fan. And so you find out, like, literally cuts to like years later and they're adult. Like, the brother is now an attorney. The best friend is like basically like this kind of career criminal kind of thing. He's always like always having to defend him. But it's just a weird, like, like the judge is like, and like the criminal's like basically dating the prosecutor. And it's like, it's so bizarre, like crazy scenario. But so basically this whole life, they've been trying to get this shirt, back into their fold, and and then like Emily is like the adult sister, and she's like hell bent on like making her brother pay for like not trying to put her hair out on fire from the beginning.
I can't wait
But
to see
Emily
this.
is so funny in it. Like I mean, and I know people say, "Oh, you're biased," but no. But Emily is so bizarro. Like her character's so bizarre, off the wall, crazy in it. She does it so well. It's so funny, and especially there's one sequence where she like actually like ends up like kind of overtaking a wrestling match and being the ring announcer, and that's where like Emily's scene really shines. And she gets the shiny moment towards the end, which I'll save for you to discover. But it's really, really like funny. Like I said, it's not going to be for everyone. It is like once I saw the trailer, I'm like, okay, this is my type of movie. I love this kind of thing. I love when they're like these. You get this like off the wall zany comedy with a little quest for something in there.
Which they don't
like,
they don't really make a lot of these days.
I know, like Fanboys. Remember, like that was kind of one where like the guys are all like trying to break into Lucasfilm because their friend has cancer and they want to go see episode 1 before the friend passed away. I don't know if you saw that one. Did you see that one?
No, but
you gotta see that. You'd love that one.
Another one that made me think of just from the description was Rat Race. Remember Rat Race?
Yes, it's kind of like that. Yeah, where there's a lot of craziness
versus
going
wacky.
on.
Yeah.
Yes, wacky, like unbelievable situations that could never happen probably in real life, and it's just so off the wall, but it is so enjoyable. I enjoyed watching it. People will say like, I don't care if someone comes at me and say, "Why did you like that movie?" I'm just telling you now why I like it, because it's so messed up and in the best way possible. And that's the best way I can describe it. And like it's been getting actually that kind of good reviews. Like that's the thing. Like this review that I saw, people were the same thing. And the guy's like, this is not gonna be for everyone, but I loved it. And this guy gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, which is great. And I would probably give it the same, honestly, because I love that kind of movie. I don't care, So go see that and go see Emily's hilarious performance in that as well. So
nice.
So I'm interested to see what you think when you come back, Tim. You got to come back.
Yeah,
I know you'll like it just because there's literally a guy named Macho Man that plays the guy, and there's a.
I mean, I like all those weird, wacky comedies. I'm a sucker for that.
So I know you like it. Now, this is kind of going to be funny because some people may consider that same thing. Except here's the difference. I don't think my To Be Trap here had a plot, or at least didn't get to a plot enough that I got it. I mean, yes, okay, there's obviously a little plot.
When I picked this one, I know we've talked about, they're To Be Traps now. We're entering a new era of To Be Trap. We're not going to try to pick the worst movie. I knew going in this was going to be bad. I knew there was no way this was going to be good.
It's called CADDY HACK, okay? And as a huge fan of Caddyshack, it's one of my favorite comedies of all time.
Which is why I picked this.
Yeah. So Tim had his heart was in the right place. He knows that. But I don't understand what this one was going. Like, I thought it was literally going to be like a movie about the gophers that just went and started killing people, which does happen, but like not in the way I think. Like, there's just all this like weird stuff going on in the beginning. I don't even understand. I don't even know half these. I didn't even put the starring people because I didn't even know which character was what, honestly. And I feel bad because I'm sure there is an audience and they probably had a hell of a time making this and had a lot of fun. And like I said, there is an audience for everyone. This one was not for me, though. This one just like, and it's funny because basically after like giving a glorious review to Emily's movie, which had like, off the wall comedy, but at least that, like, I think that had a point that hit the sweet spot of the kind of comedy for me. This just like it took way too long to get to any semblance of what I expected and that was the problem. And the movie's only, I think, like 90 minutes. So like you should have been like 20 minutes in, I should have been already like seeing gophers eating people. And I don't think I got that until like 40 minutes in or something like that. I don't know. I can't even remember at this point. So I watched it like a week ago now. But I will say this. So I got to remember this. So there is one sequence where this movie decides to randomly turn into a musical at a couple of points. And there was a song. Now I can't. Oh, great. I lost the whole thing. I think it's over here. Wait. Wait a minute. Yes, here it is. So there's a song in there called Balls Deep in Love, which is actually a duet. And that part's actually the one sequence where like, I think I kind of like was not like trying to think when this movie was going to end because it was kind of a funny sequence, and the song is somehow damn catchy, which is even weirder.
I think I'm just going to skip to that part then.
Yeah, I think you could just go scroll. When you see the blonde girl, that's like, I think they might be the only female in this movie singing to the weird nerdy guy. That's how you notice. Pause and watch that part. But yeah, so yeah, this was definitely a trick. I think we need to come up with a, like, I know we have the not for me, but we need to like almost have like a To Be Trapped themed rating. Like, were we trapped or did we escape? Kind of thing, like.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, like I feel like we need something like that.
Idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have to gnaw your leg off to get out of the trap, or what? Like, there's got to be a. I mean, yeah, trap or not trap is probably pretty good. I mean, that's probably the most simple. That's a kind of thumbs up, thumbs down. I kind of like your idea. Like, did you what level did you need to like? Like where in the level would you do? Would you gnaw your arm out to get out? Yeah, like that. I like that. We'll workshop that, but we're going to come up with that. But yeah, well, whatever this one is, I'm sorry, director Anthony Catanese. I know you. I will say at least this, at least the it didn't look as low budget as it probably should have. So there he has that going for him. And I mean, there was some spots that obviously you could tell could have been money was put behind it, may have looked a little better. But again, look, there's an audience for this. I'm still happy that this movie exists because I like that people are making movies, with what they find enjoyable. Because just like we do this podcast, we said that before. So, but yeah, this one was definitely, I guess, not for me. I was still in the trap. I don't know if I'd get to the point of gnawing myself to get out of it because I did survive it. And I think I could because there was the song part, which kind of saved me, which I would have been really upset if I gnawed myself and on my way, dragging my leg out of the trap and I heard the song and I'd want to go back and I'm like, oh crap, but now I only got one leg. So yeah. So you're in the trap, but you're willing to wait for help.
I guess I'm okay to I think I would be somewhere where I'm trapped, but I can put up with this for another 90 minutes.
Maybe we'll have to come up with bear trap. That's the one you have to gnaw your leg off to get out of.
Yeah.
That's the absolute worst. And then there's maybe then you get I don't know, another kind of trap.
The worst would be Jigsaw where you're going to die and you can't get out of it no matter what.
I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. We'll figure out a rating system there.
Figure that out. But let's get into our feature film, which was a very interesting plot to this movie. I kind of liked it. It's almost like if you took a folklore kind of an idea, but put it to a very modernized, time
That's
frame.
what I liked about it. This movie is called Hoodwitch here in the States. It was originally called Rockya, Roqya. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I'm not sure I'm crazy about the title Hoodwitch, but
I know why they called it that, but it seems a little offensive about it. But
it seems, I don't know. To me, and I was going to ask, I was kind of the same way, Brian. I was like, it kind of reminds me of boys. When you think Hood, you think Boys in the Hood or Tales from the Hood, which are I don't know. It implies a different kind of movie to me, I guess, is what I'm saying. From a American standpoint, it kind of implies that this is going to be some other type of film that I would.
I think the title is probably the weakest thing about the movie, honestly. Just because I think you're going to think of something completely different going into this with that title, and you don't get that.
But I really enjoyed it. It's just almost like the title almost took something away from it. But
I know
that's neither here nor there because I still, as you're going to find out.
I don't like because I think the way that it's just there was just something. I mean, it makes sense if you actually look at it at some level, but it's just a weird title. When you see it, you'll know. I think we know what you mean. Know what we mean by it. But
I'm going to destroy these names. I have got the director's name right. So this actually was originally came out in 2023, or it was created in 2023. It was directed by Saeed Beltibia. I looked up that name, how to pronounce it. So hopefully I got that right, Saeed.
Yeah, no, that was well done, Tim.
The rest of these I'm going to totally butcher. Unfortunately, we have Gulshifta Farhani as Noor, and I don't remember
how that name though, or a real name, Gulshifta.
Yeah, that's like Goldfinger.
I know. Yeah, she could have had her song, Gulshifta.
I don't remember how these names were pronounced in the movie, so even the character names I'm going to butcher. As that was a Noor.
Especially the subtitles didn't like this next guy, the kid, the son. If you watch the subtitles, they kept changing on how what was pulling up his name.
Yeah.
It's like,
So
oh my God, at least be consistent with the subtitle here.
Amin Zeroy as Amin, Jeremy Ferrari as Dylan. At least he has a car name, so I can pronounce that one.
That's easy.
Dennis Levant as Jules, Isaka Sawadogo as Ahmed, Farida Mufak as Rabia, Karim Belkadra Lies Boussoufi, or Liaz Boussoufi. Sorry, I'm sorry for all the names I just butchered in that.
Yeah, this was hard to read. And like I said, and also the subtitles didn't help because they didn't translate it right.
The synopsis here is: a woman earns a living by smuggling exotic animals and illegal goods, developing a mobile app that links users with mystical Marabout healers. But one of the users' consultations takes a tragic turn, facing a violent backlash. I will say, I went into this not knowing anything about it. I didn't even read the press screener we got. I didn't know anything.
Neither did I. I kind of went into this blind.
Yeah, and I was really impressed with the beginning of this movie in terms of just the direction was really good. Like, I thought it was really interesting. There's some really interesting shots. And this carries out throughout the movie. There's some really interesting shots in here. Like, my hat's off to Saeed. Like, I think he's a really good director. I think.
Yeah, you could tell he's got that eye for
the director's eye. Yes.
Yeah.
He's got his own. Yeah. I definitely could tell. You could tell with even like the shots with the animals and stuff, the way they portrayed the animals. So, it was very riveting. I really, really liked it. And as we find out, this lady is she's a smuggler of exotic animals and illegal goods. She's making money. She lives with her son, and she gets into this business of creating a mobile app that kind of gets into, in this case, it's Marabout healers, but it's kind of, kind of witchcraft adjacent as well as her son.
Well, that's how anyone would see it. Like anyone who's doesn't know about
the religion, the religious aspects of it. So she kind of gets into this realm, and from there the movie turns into a modern day retelling of the Salem witch trials in a way, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of showing how misinformation, social media, the news, and all of this could lead to some sort of kind of modern day witch hunt. And in this case, it's an actual, I guess it's kind of a quote, an actual witch hunt, because they're trying to chase her down because they believe she's caught up in this supernatural stuff. So I'm dancing around the plot points because I don't want to give anything away, because this movie's just come out and I want you guys to see it. But I thought that aspect was really interesting because I'd read a lot about the witch trials. I've listened to a ton of podcasts about the witch trials. I love that whole story, and to see it brought up in a modern setting, and especially one that this is not a world I'm very familiar with. It was, it takes place in these, it
reminds me of those those cities that have been they look like they've been decimated a little bit, but like
these tenement, low income tenement housing. It's obviously this movie is in a, what is this? I believe it's in French, right? So French language, so that I'm not familiar with. So a lot of this was really outside of my worldview, and I loved that because I love seeing things that I'm not used to seeing. And this is why Brian and I always support minority directors, women directors, any kind of underrepresented demographic making horror films, because you get to see things from a different point of view, and you get to see things that you haven't seen before. And it's so refreshing, and it's so fun and so interesting to me to see these things, and to see the witch version, which I've seen a million times. We've all seen a million depictions of witch trials. To see it put into this sort of format where it's completely out of that realm, it's out of the medieval realm, it's out of the historic realm, it's in modern times, it's in a place an urban setting where you wouldn't expect. It's not a This isn't like a folk horror that we mentioned last week where it's modern times, but it's on a farm out in the Scottish countryside or anything. This is in a downtown tenement area. And to see that story take place in modern times with social media and cell phones and stuff, it's really, really interesting. I just thought it was a great take on a classic tale.
Yeah, I see, and that's what I love because I mean, you and I are very tech savvy, but we also love our folk horror. So to combine the two in this way, I thought was so impressive because how many times, like you said, like how many times have we seen like the folk horror, the witch trials, but it could be anything, like there's so many parallels with any kind of group that one group deems they don't like or they're bad, and we don't need to go into the current landscape of the world right now, but it's like that, and the fact that, so much misinformation can be spread by one little post on social media, and it explodes over everywhere and just damages lives and destroys families and destroys, so many things. He managed to capture that by taking it in like this simple folk horror approach, but showing it in the modern day time. So it's like, you could have if you replaced, yes, you could have replaced like the witch idea with just a regular social media thing, but we've seen that too a million times. But I rarely have we seen something where it's taking such a folk horror aspect and mixing it with today's technology and abuse of social media and abuse and the addiction people have to the technology, and put it together in such a great way. And what's sad is I have a feeling this is not a knock on the movie, but it's probably going to go under a lot of radars. Maybe partly because of the title, or maybe because of, you're going to if you look at the description, you're just going to say, oh, but trust me, if you get the opportunity, you need to watch this movie because it's so different and it's so engaging, riveting. And there's some of these sequences of where you're just like, oh my God, I feel like I just saw this on the news or something. But yet you didn't really see that on the news. You saw something that's very similar on the news. And it's so you could people that may not a lot of people don't like folk horror because they feel it's too slow of a burn, right? Well, this one kind of definitely doesn't have that aspect. It's got more of a quick pace, but still manages to not lose its folk horror roots, I guess, for lack of a better word.
And how many times have we seen the modern? You'll see technology, the evils of technology movie. You see that all the time, and then you see the evils of supernatural movies. But rarely do you see them mixed like this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
usually when they do the modern app, it's the app is AI controlled, or the app is somehow magical or something. This is a completely different take on mixing technology and sorcery together, where it's not really, there's no supernatural element to this.
Yeah,
so I don't know. It's really, really intriguing movie. Even when I got done with it, I wasn't quite sure. I really, really liked it. I knew that I really, really liked it, but I just I was still wrapping my head around.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those thinkers where afterwards you're like, huh, and and it's the more you think about it, the more you really start to get it. I think and the kid that played the son in it was really good, and
really
I think,
good, yeah.
Think that's a character in the movie where because he had to kind of play this beyond his years kind of thing, and he had the family dynamic because of course they throw in the plot of the father and the mother, the estrangement there, and how and they're basically battling, kind of this weird custody battle going on in there. So it's he had to be really good, because if the guy that played Amin, if he was not a good actor, I think it would have dropped the movie down a couple of levels. And all the performances were great, but that's where usually, and I'm not trying to knock, because we've seen some amazing, younger kids and younger performers that are just amazing. It seems like they're more for these movies from other countries. With The Innocents, that still freaks me out to this day, and stuff like that. But this is one where I think it was every thing was at the exact level it needed to be, that high level, or reached high. I mean, between the cinematography, the directing, the plot, the acting, everything just worked well together, and it all hit the levels it needed to make this film a success. So, I hope
Dark Sky rarely. I can't even think of the time they've disappointed us. When we get a screener from them, I'm all in, because they usually they put banger after banger out there.
And I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to the next project from Saeed, because I mean, if this is the kind of stuff that he's coming out with, I mean, like, I'm like, okay, keep bringing him.
Like, even the intro, there's an intro where he has these different clips about witchcraft, like from different. This was really good. Like, it's just really, like, it captured my attention immediately. Like, I think he's a really good director.
Yeah.
And like you said, I'm looking forward to what he does next, because this is not. I wouldn't say this is like a traditional horror movie. When you think horror, you're thinking, there's like this big supernatural force, or it's a slasher, or this movie just can't be pigeonholed. I wanted to say, is it a psychological thriller? Not really. I mean, kinda. It's really, the horror comes from the social aspect of it, the social commentary. That's where the horror comes from. So I find it difficult to really classify what kind of a horror film this really is, or if you even classify it as horror. There are certainly horrific elements, but
and just to show how good he is, he was also one of the writers on this, and this is his first feature. So I mean, like, we are seeing some of these directors that come out with their first feature as like they've been directing for like 30 years. It's amazing what's come out lately, and that we're lucky enough to get these. And you're right, like Dark Sky, I don't know who is in charge of curating for their films that they take on there, but I feel like every one has been a hit. At least the ones we've gotten to see, So
yeah, that definitely, guys, check that out. Like I said, it's available on demand now. So
I think Prime has it for $6.99 to rent. So I think that might be the lowest price.
It's worth a rent. It's kind of a very interesting movie, and probably not like anything else you're going to see this year. So, Brian, what did you have for our beer pairing? I can't wait to see this.
I think it's been a good one, actually. This one's like goes back to the old school, where I really managed to capture like the kind of the feel. And this one's called Mystic Mama.
Yeah, that's like perfect.
Yeah, right. And it's from Jackie O's, which is kind of like a brewery restaurant kind of place. It's one of those brew pubs. But they make their own beers. I think they have 2 locations, but their main one is based out of Athens, Ohio. This one's 7%, and it's a flagship West Coast style IPA, and it's brewed with tremendous amount of hand-selected American hops, delivering extraordinary tropical and citrus notes alongside a firm but satiating bitterness.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah, that uses some good buzzwords in there. Yeah. Satiating. That's one. My fan topic food might be kind of interesting. So I don't know. This one might be a tricky one, though.
But this one was easy for me.
Well, for you, yeah.
So easy.
It says, so I'll read it. It was, if you were in desperate need of a medical miracle and you encountered a so-called witch, would you take them up on their offer to cure you? I meant to write to cure you, but it just says up on their offer. But I think it's implied what that was.
My answer is no.
Really? So like you were like, you were going to die, and like they said, and you found this woman that says, I don't can
believe
cure
in
you.
that. Yeah, I don't believe in it. Like, I just don't believe in witchcraft miracle cures. Sorry.
See, so so I'm kind of in a weird. My answer is going to be a little weird. So I do believe, I think we discussed this we might have discussed it on the show once, that like I like those doctors like that like will always not like jump right to like, okay, I'm giving you a pill to cover this. Let's try a diet first, or change, or try exercise, or try eating this
that's like
specific
my doctor.
thing, or try taking a natural supplement to see what happens. And those are the kind of doctors I like. So when you think about that, when you get like one of these things, is like a witch using some kind of stuff is on the verge of getting to like those holistic healer kind of things. Now, I don't know if I'm all the way there, so I'm in the middle. So I think I would have to be super desperate, and it'd have to be kind of like I think I'd have to see like some like case study on if this woman or witch actually did some stuff, and I'd want to talk to these people, but I would consider it. So I wouldn't be outright. Knowing me, I'd probably be paranoid. I'd probably be too nervous in the end to pull the trigger on it. But if I was dying, who knows at that point, like,
Yeah, I
people
mean,
get desperate when you're close to death, and they're
that's
like,
true.
this could be the only thing. I always think of that, like in the Man on the Moon, the Andy Kaufman biopic by Jim Carrey, where he goes to that like thing and they're squishing the shrimp up to make it look like they're ripping out the
Yeah,
poison in his
yeah.
thing. And it's like, and that goes on so many, you hear all those stories, especially in those, those like third world countries where people travel to, and you get like that alone. I don't think I could do, because to me, I need to have like, the cleanest of hospital situations. So maybe if I had a really like high, like maybe like a high tech witch, where she had a really clean building, and she was,
Well, the thing is
maybe I'd
too, like,
consider it more.
there's other aspects, like, what is this witch charging? Like, if she's charging, all my kids' inheritance to be able to try
Right.
to do
Yeah.
some,
Yeah.
that's that kind of thing. The other thing is, I will do a caveat about the whole not believing in witchcraft stuff. I do believe that the mind is very powerful, and that people can be made to do things through the power of suggestion. It's like, so I think, like, I strongly believe like placebo effects and things like that exist. And if a person believed they were cursed, or a person believed they were cured, or there's a chance that, they could somehow, I'm not saying it was actual magic, but I'm saying the power of suggestion could produce some kind of effect.
Well, yeah, Julie always tells me this all the time. She's like, because I'm like me, I'm like the worst. Like, I'll read a story and like I'll start developing the symptoms in my head, and
Yeah.
I'm like, no, look, I had like, and she goes, this is in your head, and she goes, you read that thing or you saw it on TV. That's what it is. I'm like, she goes, but I said, why would I actually physically feel the symptoms? She goes, because the mind is extremely powerful. That's the way the mind works. I mean, think about it. Your brain sends a synapse to your arm to tell you, ow, that hurts. So why couldn't you like almost like subconsciously control that synapse to make it feel like something that's not actually there, So
Yeah.
when you think about it, it does work. So yes, the power of suggestion, I'm like, and I actually, that's one of the things I've been doing lately to try and like not be so paranoid about every kind of ailment that comes my way. It's like, okay, you know what? Yes, you're right. Because like, and okay, maybe, maybe the a symptom of like an arm throb is cancer, but it also could be you banging your arm and not remembering you banged it, kind of a thing. It's like, so it's like your mind can cover a million things like that. So yes, it makes total sense what you're saying. So that's why I'm like with you on that one for sure. So
Yeah. I've always read that your mind, typically you're jumping to the worst case scenario because your brain wants to keep you alive. So it's trying to cover the worst possible scenario to, it's like a survival instinct. Like, there's an innate survival instinct, just like why you're scared on roller coasters, because you're not supposed to be this high up and you're not supposed to be going this fast, and your
you're not
brain knows
supposed
it
to
is.
be hurtling down
Yes,
325
your
feet.
brain's
Yeah.
like, no, you're not supposed to be doing this, you're going to die. And so you kind of have to overcome that base level instinct of that your brain's trying to keep you safe. Because if it was up to your brain, we would all just sit in a padded room and get fat and lazy, and
Yeah.
it's one of those things.
That's why I think I'm going to force you, Tim, to do that that crazy zip line over Fremont Street when we go to Tim Vegas.
Yeah, that would be. I don't know. I think I would do that because I like zip lines.
Yeah, this one's fun too, because you know what? Even though you're like kind of like in that Superman pose and you're going out, it's funny. Like after the initial first like 4-second descent, it like kind of goes down a little bit like on the steeper side. You feel like you're going over people, but you're like, I feel like at that point you're only like 40 feet up, and if you fall, odds are, especially on Fremont Street, is packed. You're gonna land on somebody. You probably would not, probably be okay. They might not be, but you might be. So yeah, no, we'll definitely have to do one of those kind of thrill attractions when we're there
for sure.
for Tim Vegas. I'll tell you the scariest thing still, I think, at there is those two things on the stratosphere, but I still have not been able. I don't know if I could ever do that one where you like go down the wires and you kind of do like that free fall jump thing down there, even though you're controlled. But and honestly, that thing with the teeter totter coaster thing, where it kind of just goes you off the edge and it kind of hangs you there. I did it once. I don't know if I could ever do it again, honestly. But
Really?
if you guys did it, I would probably do it again, but I'd not be happy about it. But
my Achilles heel is rope courses. Oh my God, I get so terrified on
Oh.
those, and they're so
Oh, you-
stupid because they're 10 feet off the ground. I'm like, why am I so scared right now?
well, yeah, there's the one in Colorado where there's one sequence where you're on you're hooked, you're on those tweezels or whatever they're called. But there's a part where like you have to walk and you're like literally off the cliff, and you kind of like walk around this like tiny little loop for
I
about like
couldn't
10
do it.
feet
I
off.
mean, I went to the most recent one I went to. I told you about the one I went to the zoo when the kids were really little, and I got so scared. So I decided, you know what? I need to get over this fear. We went to Myrtle Beach. We went to Wonderworks, and they had a ropes course there. This was like last year. And I was like, I'm just going to do this one because this one's inside. Number one, it's inside. You're maybe 10 feet off the ground, 10, 12 feet off the ground, maybe. Like, it's not bad. Like, this is like the most easiest rope course you could probably do. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it because I was so scared that first time I did that one. I was like, I got to get over this. And I went on this thing and I was freaking terrified the whole time. I was petrified again. And I'm like, I'm literally maybe 3 feet above people's heads. I'm not that, like, I could probably jump down and be okay. I'm strapped in. I'm on a hook. There's no way I'm going to fall. There's one of the workers is over in the corner just swinging off the harness thing. She's not even on the ground. And I'm sitting there going, I can't get across this bridge. Like, I'm completely frozen in fear. I can't do it. I know I'm not going to fall. And I can't do it. Like, I had to cut it short. And Anna was so upset with me because she was like, I want to keep going higher, Daddy. I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I physically can't do it. I'm like literally shaking like a leaf.
Said, hey, I remember a time when you wouldn't even go on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Young lady.
I don't know, but it's something about the height and not being like secure. Like, in a roller coaster, it doesn't bother me. I'm in a car, like I'm strapped in, it doesn't bother me, and I'm going up and I know I'm coming down really fast. Like, I'm not going to stay up there, but staying up at that height level, man, I can't get on my roof. I can't climb on my roof. Even when I get on a ladder, I get real nervous. So
yeah, no, it's funny. I'll be like 20 feet off the ground, but like on a ladder, and I'm more terrified than that than going up 400 feet on a roller coaster.
Absolutely. Like,
it's so weird how like
I get
the mind works.
Like, yeah, like I literally get shakes. Like, I mean, just nervous shakes. It's definitely fear of heights. I definitely have a fear of heights, and I get nervous around buildings and balconies and things too.
So same. Yeah, I
know I've got a fear of heights.
Yeah, like I know Julie wanted to do that thing that our friend Dwayne did, where it's like you go on the top of those like towers and you hook yourself on. You like go like this.
Oh no.
I'm like, nope, I can't do it. I said, I know the odds. I'm going to be fine. I mean, probably the craziest thing I did, if I have to say the craziest thing I did, was that thing Julie and I did in Colorado. That thing I sent you, the one that Bert Kreischer did, where you go swing down there. But it's funny because it's like I was able to rationalize it as, okay, when you're going down the initial descent part, you're only about 30 feet above the whatchamacallit, the ground, and then when you swing out to the cavern, at that point you're swinging, you're not going fast anymore. So you're kind of like attached. And yes, that's still frightening, mind you. But like, if you put them both together, it seems more terrifying than if you break it up to two spots. Like, okay, I'm going to drop down there and then I'm going to swing out into the center. But then I'm going to kind of swing back and they're already starting to pull you back. So you're just kind of gradually going, you're on your way. So I think it's more the initial, it's all the anticipation, obviously. That's
the most scariest part of anything. Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, I found a way to do it and get over my my trauma of it. But then there was what was the other thing that made me a little nervous? That was like oh yeah, it was so funny. So Lake Compounds, of all things, used to have, one of their attractions was just a ski lift, and it would go up the mountain, and you'd go see it go up. It'd go up about like maybe like 100 feet. But what they don't show you is once you get up to that point, it kind of goes straight, and then you go up again. You don't see the height part, and you're on literally one of the little ski liftings with just the bar like holding you in.
Oh no, yeah.
And granted, you're never more than like probably like 20, 30 feet off some ground. But something about it, like, you remember the one at Knoebels where you would go, when you went down, it was like straight. It was like that. And you're not really secure in those things. So those things kind of freak me out more than anything. And it's so weird because really, if you fell out, yes, you'd probably be hurt. but you're really not that high off the ground from things, like on that one. But I don't know.
I don't like the feeling that if I wanted to slip out of this thing, I could.
Yes, you're right. I think that's the best way to say it, is because you're not falling out of a roller coaster very easily. You need to do something.
No, like I would like, even like if you're on like I'm riding Fury 325, like I know when that thing locks, if I tried to get out, I couldn't get out of the thing probably, because I'm so locked in. But when you have just a bar, or like those swings, even those swing rides, it just has a little chain come down. Like if I wanted to, I could lift that up and just jump out of the swing. If I wanted to, there's nothing stopping me.
Yeah, and they have those crazy ones, like the one at Six Flags New England, where it's like 420 feet. You're on those little swings like that, and when the wind blows, you start swinging. And I'm like, that was the one where I made the video, and like I couldn't even post it because Julie was cursing so much because the wind was whipping us and it was hurting.
Yeah,
but I'm like, oh my God,
those wind
I'm like,
seekers,
this is well, the wind seekers at least got an arm. This has the chain, just like those swings. Just picture it, and I'm like, oh, never again. I can't do this again.
I can't.
It's just because. I mean, there, granted, though, there is more of a strap. It's not like you're like kind of locked in and then you're barred on. So, but you could still, like, I have a feeling you could still get out much easier than you could have like Fury. So,
oh man, yeah, I don't know. The heights are way scarier than any horror movies to me. But anyway, you guys go check out Hood Witch.
Hood Witch. Also, Raging Midlife. Check them all out. All the movies we mentioned today. Even if you want to see Caddy Hack, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to see Caddy Hack, go ahead and do that one as well. We'll be back next week. Don't know what movie we're doing yet. Don't know what Tubi Trap we're doing yet, but we will.
Yeah, I have to send you one. Yeah, I have that. I got to send you your Tubi Trap.
Yeah. So take care, guys. And remember, leave us a rating. If you leave us a rating and let us know about it, we will kill you on air in a very special manner. So keep sending reviews in, and we will talk to you next week.
No.